Welcome back to Check Out the Stat by your girl, Treasure Wilson, aka Stat Baby. So today we'll discuss the top moments of the WNBA draft, a crazy comment made towards Caitlin Clark, and the reason why Nike got a lot of people mad. But first, I've got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. With Underdog, you can earn money by making picks on your favorite players. You can try the app in California, Texas, and New York, and the list goes on. If you want to play along, go download Underdog Fantasy, use code STAT. They'll match your deposit up to $100, and you'll get a special pick when you sign up. So first, let's do our Underdog Fantasy picks of the day. Today, for the play-in tournament, the Bulls will play Miami. Guys, I'm not so confident in this game. If you know, I am a Heat fan. And with Jimmy Butler most likely being out, I don't even think we have Duncan Robinson in right now. I think we're definitely going to struggle offensively unless a couple players decide to step it up. So we got Bam. Underdog Fantasy has Bam at 37.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I'm going to go off on a limb and say higher. Hopefully he can, put up some more points this time. Then Underdog has Jaime Jaquez Jr. at 13.5 points. If the Heat want any luck in trying to win this, he's going to have to put up at least those numbers. And then on the Bulls side, we got Kobe White. He had a phenomenal game. He's at 20.5 points. I think it's going to be difficult for him to score high again, but I'm just going to put higher because I think now that he has set this precedent for himself, he's going to have to reach and meet that. So download the Underdog Fantasy app. You can make your picks too. So we're going to start with my super women of the week because we got multiple. My pick is going to be the lovely ladies who got selected during the WNBA draft. As we all know, this was a very historic draft class. And the reality is that this draft catapulted women's sports viewership immensely because of all the things that we've seen at the collegiate level this year. Now, the big problem is going to be able to see if this will translate into the WNBA. I don't think we're going to have too much of a problem, but I think it is going to be a slow upward incline to get people really into the groove of watching the WNBA. As we know, during draft night, Caitlin Clark's jersey already sold out. And so I think a lot of people, even if you're a casual fan, just a casual sports fan, you're seeing a lot of WNBA coverage on your social media and on your timeline. I think we're seeing constant, consumption of it. So I think that this is a great time, for women's sports. And there's no better time than now. So I personally attended the 2024 WNBA draft live in New York. Shout out to the WNBA for getting me tickets. But I wanted to discuss my top 4 moments of the draft. At number 1, of course, for me, it's a no-brainer. It was Caitlin Clark being drafted. This was a very special moment to see in person because now I can say I was part of history. We've seen all the things that she has done at the collegiate level, and she broke a lot of barriers that we have not seen. She was obviously selected first overall by the Indiana Fever, and we all know that being drafted to the WNBA was one of her life goals. So being able to see her dreams become reality was super, super dope, being right there in the flesh. Imagine me sitting in the audience. You got Jake from State Farm right in front of me, and then I had her Iowa teammates sitting behind me. Super dope, special moment. All her family there. All the people that she cared about was there. She explained that in her speech as well. So it was just super dope to be there, and that was my first draft, y'all. So my first draft ever, and then seeing Caitlin Clark get selected, super dope moment. My second favorite moment at the WNBA draft was Camilla sharing what it meant to her to be drafted. So she had a phenomenal season at South Carolina under Dawn Staley's leadership. I think we can all say that America has been rooting for Dawn Staley because she is that girl. But what is crazy about her journey is when you know about her past. So she left her hometown of Brazil to live a new life in the States to play basketball. When Camilla came to the country, she couldn't even speak English. I'm sure you guys can only imagine how much of a struggle that was for her to be able to even adjust living into the States. And not even just living in the States, but becoming a basketball player. During the season earlier at South Carolina, she was able to reunite with her family thanks to Dawn Staley surprising her and securing her family visas because this was the first time ever her family got to witness her play basketball at the collegiate level. And she did have a few injury scares throughout the season, but she was still able to finish strong. And I think South Carolina's undefeated season is essentially what put her draft stock even higher. A lot of the WNBA mock drafts had her a lot lower. So I think she had a great season, a great end, and then being able to see her get drafted to the Chicago Sky, that was super, super dope. And then during her speech after she was drafted, she said that this was one of her biggest accomplishments because she wanted to be able to give her family a better life. So shout out to Camilla, super proud of her. It was definitely a tearjerker for us all. My third favorite moment, of course, was Angel Reese getting drafted. We've seen all the hate that she has gotten throughout the past couple of seasons just because people said that she's classless. People said that she doesn't know how to act. She doesn't know how to dress. Oh, she has a boyfriend now. She's not going to perform as highly. I think Angel Reese got the most criticism by any college athlete for this season. So now being able to see her get drafted and then basically everything that she worked for come to play, super dope moment. And then to me, what was shocking was seeing that now she will be teammates with Camilla. So on a lot of mock drafts, Camilla and Angel were both placed differently. At one point, Angel Reese was supposed to go to Minnesota. So seeing that her and Camilla will both be playing for the Chicago Sky, I think that this couldn't have been a better matchup for the two. And especially now, as of yesterday, April 9th, Ty Young signed her first coaching contract as the assistant coach for the Chicago Sky. As we know, she was a WNBA player. And she said that this was a full circle moment for her after being drafted April 9th, 2008, and then 16 years later, April 9th, 2024, she will now be an assistant coach. I think that this dynamic will be great, and I'm excited to see how all of their chemistry shows on the court. And then we cannot forget about Angel's fit. She looked amazing. She had a custom diamond grill and a shimmer gown with a little hood on it. It was very fly. I know a lot of the girls in the WNBA were saying previously they couldn't dress a certain way, so they love that people can kind of show their personality and wear things that they would like to wear. But even though, Angel, I think, got best dressed, I can't overlook Rakia Jackson. She had on a shimmer suit set that was so fire. She also had an outfit change. And then, although Paige Beckers wasn't being drafted, she attended as a friend. She had an all-white, crisp Louis Vuitton fit. I ain't never seen something that fly like that. She definitely showed out. So those three definitely had the best fits at the draft, in my opinion. And then lastly, Kate Martin, Iowa's Kate Martin getting drafted out the audience. So that was a very crazy moment for me as well because Kate was sitting right behind me. And, we're all watching the draftees and everybody's super excited for everybody. But she came to support Caitlin Clark. Obviously, we kind of already knew Caitlin was going to go first overall. So she came to support along with her teammates. Next thing you know, things start shuffling around. Things start happening. I have a video of what actually went down. All of a sudden, she gets drafted by the Aces. It was completely unexpected. I know when people see the video, they think it was staged, but nobody knew. At one point, somebody from production came back and they were like, oh, you might want to move seats. And we're like, why are they telling her to move seats? That makes no sense. Other people are starting to get drafted in front of her. And then kind of, around the crowd, we're like, maybe she's about to get drafted. We don't really know exactly what's going on. So at that point, I just start taking out my camera and she's sitting right behind me. So I'm recording because I'm like, she might be about to get drafted. And then that is exactly what happened. She was selected 18th overall by the Aces. Shout out the Aces. And this is a great moment for her because she definitely elevated her game throughout the tournament with Iowa. And she was team captain over the last 3 seasons. I know some teammates kind of get a little overlooked because all the attention is on Caitlin Clark, which, Caitlin Clark is that girl, but she does have teammates who help her as well. Once Kate got drafted, after she shared, I was here to support Caitlin, but I was hoping to hear my name called. All I wanted was an opportunity, and I got it. I'm really excited. So like I said, I recorded when that went down. So let's roll the clip so you guys can see exactly what happened with Kate Martin.
The Las Vegas Aces select Kate Martin.
Shout out the Aces.
So like I said, that completely was not staged. It was a shock to us all. Everybody's kind of like casually recording, but I promise you, none of us knew. So that was a very cool moment to see. And I'm sure all the girls had a lot of fun and a lot of celebrations after. But overall, the draft was great. Shout out to the WNBA for allowing me to be there. And hopefully this will be the first of many drafts. Okay, so we're going to go to break. And then when we return, we're going to get into Ain't No Way.
She called this thing about toxic. 4 years and counting. Got you feeling like an option. Maybe I'm my own problem, babe. She tired of hearing I don't know. What's stubborn in me won't fall. Dealing with this thing called trust. But she really thinking about it. She wanna be free. Why am I here this woman? She wanna be free. Hell, I don't wanna see her walk away. I wish somebody told me the rules. Disagreements let her win, and it's cool. Even when I'm right, this ain't about.
Welcome back. Now we're going to get into Ain't No Way, where we talk about the crazy things that have happened this week. So this week, the women's basketball coverage continues. Because ain't no way this reporter made this comment to Caitlin Clark at a press conference. So now with women's sports being on the rise more than ever, and specifically women's hoops, which we hope will translate into the WNBA, there's a lot more coverage coming from all sorts of people. So at a press conference, indie columnist Greg Doyle made a heart hand gesture to Caitlin. As we all know, this is Caitlin's thing. This is what she does. And we know that. So Clark responded casually, "Oh, like, you like that?" Doyle replied, "I like that you're here." And Clark went on to explain, "I do that at my family after every game." Then Doyle decided to say, "Start doing that to me and we'll get along just fine." And that was not the comment to make, because I cannot even explain to you how awkward that comment came across. I don't even think Caitlin knew what to respond after that, because what do you mean start doing that to me and we'll get along just fine? Like, I don't know you, you don't know me like that. So that comment was a little crazy. He later apologized that same day, saying, "Today, in my uniquely oafish way, while welcoming Caitlin Clark to Indy, I formed my hands into her signature heart hands. My comment afterward was clumsy and awkward. I sincerely apologize." And clumsy and awkward was that statement. I mean, Caitlin Clark is a younger girl. We have a lot more reporters entering into the women's sports space who just quite frankly don't know how to talk to women. That's just what it is. I could see if they had a certain relationship that had already happened prior, or they were like buddies, because you can make jokes with certain people, but you can't make jokes with all people. And I don't even think he meant for that to be a joke. I don't know if he was trying to shoot his shot. I don't know what was going through his mind. The way it came across was pretty crazy. So, of course, after that, he got a lot of backlash. And I don't know the man. I can't say whether his response was sincere or not, but I truly think that he was trying to save his career, because journalists cannot afford to make mistakes like that. When you're a standard reporter, you're supposed to keep it straight by the book, stick to the stats, and that's it. If you're an opinionated reporter, maybe more of an advanced analyst, you can make a little bit more comments, but we're just asking you to ask Caitlin Clark standard post-game interview questions. We're not asking you to make any advances to her. We're not asking you to flirt with her. It's weird. It is what it is. And it seemed like it was kind of out of character for him. I've seen some of his other things that he's done, but it just looked like he didn't really know how to control himself. So the main thing I'm going to say is that the merge of these spaces, when we're, merging men's basketball reporters, men reporters just in general, women reporters, women's sports, comments like these, this is not going to be the first time that we're hearing stuff like this. And working with women is definitely a different ballpark that not everybody's ready for. I'm not going to say he's not qualified, because that's not the truth at all. But some people aren't ready to have those conversations with women. And he took the turmoil for it because that comment ended up going viral. And I don't think it's going to affect his career yet, but later down the line, it's definitely going to be one of those things like, did he really just say that to one of the best, college athletes ever? But he did. And that clip has circulated and it will follow him. So he is a father of 2. And I think that maybe he meant for it to be funny, but the awkwardness did not translate that way at all. He's still kind of fighting for his life. I'm not going to lie. When you see the clip yourself, I think that you guys can be the judge of how you felt when you seen it. But let me know what you guys think of all the comments that he did made and then what other people's responses were to it. I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about that. Okay, so now we're going to get into Tell Me What's Up because the stats wouldn't be the stats without questions and answers from you guys. So right now, people are upset Caitlin Clark is getting a Nike shoe deal, and here's why. So Caitlin Clark is nearing a multi-year, lucrative 8-figure deal with Nike, and she is in talks of getting a signature shoe. So right now, the only other active WNBA players with a signature shoe deal is Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. So to me, you think people would be real proud. It's like, okay, Caitlin Clark, she did her thing all of college. Now she's going to the league. She's going to get a signature shoe with Nike. That's dope, right? At 22 years old, because Caitlin Clark is still a youngin', you can check her Wikipedia page, and she's already listed as one of the greatest female collegiate players of all time. That's a crazy stat. To have of all time, even just put in your resume is insane. But that girl's got it. And this is not the only time that she's got that. So like we said, we know she had an amazing collegiate career. And I know she's frustrated that she fell short of getting the title that she always wanted. But people aren't taking that away from her to take away the fact that she still baseline had a great career. She has changed the lead and broke records that we have not seen at that level. But when looking at the stats, people are upset because there is one player that people argue has been deserved a deal like this. And that player is none other than A'ja Wilson. So A'ja Wilson, we know she plays for the Aces. And if you don't know, now you know because you got to know. A'ja is a 2-time league MVP, a 2-time WNBA champ, a 2-time defensive player of the year, finals MVP, 5-time WNBA All-Star, and a best-selling author. Her resume goes crazy. And you cannot compare A'ja Wilson to Caitlin Clark because they're in 2 different lanes. So don't get me wrong. When I say all this, I don't say this to discredit Caitlin. I'm excited for her, and I think that she deserves a shoe. Caitlin Clark deserves a shoe because she's hot right now. But I think A'ja definitely deserves an opportunity as well because A'ja has been hot. So I don't understand why people try to argue, well, Caitlin Clark has a shoe and A'ja doesn't because this or that or this. There is completely no reason why A'ja Wilson should not have a shoe. And not everything is a black and white answer. And that is why I answer things the way that I do, because there's no concrete reason as to why, well, Caitlin Clark has this, so this is why A'ja Wilson has, there's no reason to it. Because when you look at A'ja's resume, she has all the accolades that she needs to be considered a great. Like, A'ja Wilson is one of my favorite WNBA players. You can even argue she's the best in the league right now because a lot of people will say that she is. So there's no reason why she's not even in talks to have her own signature shoe. Now, the crazy thing to me right now is that on Twitter, the people who are arguing that A'ja doesn't have a shoe are saying that she's not marketable. Saying A'ja Wilson is not marketable is one of the craziest things I've ever heard because there's nothing to question. You can look at her resume, you can look at her character, you can see what she's about. So telling me that she's not marketable is crazy. So someone tweeted at A'ja because, there's a lot of discourse saying like, okay, A'ja, what's going on? And A'ja has been posting Bible verses, different things like that, making a little bit of jokes. One of her teammates, Cindy Colson, basically said that she was going to have a shoe before her and was basically posting designs of a potential shoe that she might have. And A'ja Wilson was like, can't wait to see you rock them on the bench, which was a crazy clap back, but she said it. But basically somebody tweeted at A'ja saying, the jealousy in the WNBA is crazy. Caitlin's about to bring a new level of viewership to your league and you're hating on her. So here's the thing, right? Like, at the end of the day, regardless of how we view Caitlin Clark, she's still a newbie. And it's like, she's going to go through the runaround a little bit. She's still going to have to prove herself in the league because the WNBA is still a different ballpark from NCAA women's basketball. That's just what it is. But this comment coming at Asia never said anything about Caitlin Clark. She never expressed any sort of jealousy because at the end of the day, Asia Wilson is comfortable with who she is and she knows the type of player she is and she knows what she can bring to the table and she is content with that. So Asia responded and she said, LOL, no one is jealous, Buki. Hate that word, but shout out Asia. I have no reason to be. I truly wish all 143 the best for real. Our league is hard as hell, so to thrive and to stay in it consistently is huge. So please stop with this jealousy stuff. Now, the thing that I don't understand is why people confuse advocating for somebody with jealousy or think that someone isn't deserving. I think just because we're advocating for Asia Wilson does not mean that we are discrediting Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark is still well-deserved. She's at a time right now where she has blown up, women's sports to a different level. People who don't even watch women's sports know who Caitlin Clark is. And at the end of the day, it's going to sell. Like we talked about it earlier, her jersey sold out on draft night. So Nike is making a business decision that is going to help them. But if Nike can make these business decisions with Caitlin Clark, they definitely can make these business decisions with Asia, which is why we are saying that this is a time for people to speak up. Because if we speak up in favor of Asia Wilson, the more change can be made. Like I said, this isn't to discredit Caitlin Clark because she has been doing her thing. And those shoes will probably sell out too, as they should. But at the same time, we got to advocate for our girl Asia because she has been doing her thing. Like I said, only 3 active WNBA players have a signature shoe. And I think that Asia Wilson should definitely be the 4th. But let me know what you guys think about Caitlin's new signing that she has coming up with Nike. And let me know what you guys think about all the discourse happening around it. It's a strong conversation that needs to be talked about because if we don't talk about it, no change is going to happen. And I'm ready to see some things be done. But that is it for today's episode. Y'all can hashtag check out the stat so we can continue the discussion next week and maybe your question or take will be featured. Thanks for hanging out with me and checking out the stats. I'll see y'all next week.